Well, hello and welcome to all. Good afternoon. We thank you for joining us. I am Monica Harris, Executive Director at Rails. I hope everybody had a really nice Halloween, or maybe you were able to enjoy some snow on Monday or see some northern lights yesterday if you were really lucky. Before we get into our agenda today, I just have a little bit of Rails news to share. So I'm very excited to announce that the 2026 My Library Is grants are now open. These grants are designed to help libraries to tell their story, and they are open to all types of Rails member libraries. That includes academic, public, school, and specialized libraries. Any Rails member library is eligible, and you can apply for up to $5,000. The application deadline is coming up on Friday, January 30th at 5 p.m. And if you're interested, we strongly recommend looking through all of the application forms and guidelines. There is also an application rubric, which is linked on the website. So if you want to make your application as strong as possible, definitely take a look at all of the material that's available, and we encourage you to apply. The 2025 to 2026 Slate School Library Census is also underway. We want to make sure that all school libraries are counted in this census, and any library educator managing a school library can participate. That census is open until December 31st, and we really hope schools will consider participating. Having this information available through the Slate Project is essential for advocacy for school libraries. Equity, professional development, and improving access to licensure are all really important parts of making sure that our Slate data is up to date and accurate. We also announced this week a new L2 poster for libraries. So if you don't know what L2 is, it's our library directory and learning calendar. The poster is designed to help promote L2 membership and to library staff and trustees. As a reminder, anyone in a Rails member library can have an L2 account, and we strongly encourage library directors and managers to print or share the poster with staff. So take a look. We want to definitely encourage you to use that as well. And you can probably see that Dan has put links for all of these items that we're mentioning here in the chat, including the agenda for today. So if you haven't taken a look at it, the chat, definitely encourage you to do that to follow along. Finally, on Monday, November 17th, we have a new webinar scheduled. It's called Libraries and Immigration Enforcement. And Katie Nagy, who is an attorney at Ansel Glink, will be presenting on how to respond to immigration enforcement actions in a legal and responsible way. Participants will have the opportunity to hear about their rights, obligations, and best practices. And we are also fortunate to have two staff members from the Vernon area Public Library District presenting on how they developed safety protocols and guidelines to protect staff. This event is now open for registration. We have also worked with Ansel Glink to share an updated version of the legal memo that they originally provided on immigration enforcement back in January. The memo, which was shared on the director's list yesterday, contains expansions on previous responses, as well as additional guidance based on more recent questions that have been received by Ansel Glink and by Rails. So if you have any questions about that, take a look at the registration link that has been shared in the chat. Thank you for your attention to all of these pieces of general information from Rails. But I want to transition us to our main events for today, beginning with two presenters we're very fortunate to have. First up, we have Cindy Robinson, Executive Director at the Illinois Library Association, and Aaron Skog, who in addition to his work at SWAN, is Chair of the Public Policy Committee at ILA. So welcome, Cindy and Aaron.
Thanks, Monica.
Thanks, Monica.
It's great to see everyone today. Well, what we can see. So I'm going to start out with just giving you some information about ILA. You probably are somewhat aware of it, but we're going to kind of run through it. And if you have any questions, we're happy to answer them. So I will start out by saying that ILA represents Illinois libraries and the millions that depend on them. ILA is the third largest state association, and you don't have to wait. I'll tell you, it's Texas and New York that are higher than ILA. So we're right there, number 3. about 2,000 personal members of ILA, and we have more than 500 institutional members, which are made up of public, academic, school, and school libraries, as well as library workers, trustees, students, and library vendors. ILA has a board of 16, and we have 2 ex officio members, 7 staff members, and we are guided by our strategic plan. Members can participate in appointed committees or for forums, which are groups of interest. And all of those are on our website if you want to take a look at it, see if there's something you might like to join up with.
Dan, let's move the slides up just one
Yeah.
or two.
Thank you.
There we go.
There we go. So here are some pictures from our annual conference, which was just last month. It seems like it was a really long time ago somehow. Advocacy is one of our primary programs on ILA. We have 2 committees that are focused on them. One is advocacy, and the other is the public policy committee. Erin will be talking a little bit more about that later. But the advocacy committee is involved with the meetups, the legislative meetups that will be coming up very soon in a couple weeks. Well, no, next week. Oh my gosh, it's next week. So the advocacy committee reaches out to legislators and invite them to attend our meetups, which are always very fun. If you can get to one, we definitely suggest it. As I said, annual conference was just last month. It's held every year in October. This year we were in Rosemont, and next year we'll be back in Peoria. The conferences are very different, but they're both so much fun. And if you haven't been to one before, it's definitely worth the trip. In addition to the annual conference, ILA also supports Reaching Forward North and Reaching Forward South conferences, which are held in the spring. Both of the conferences are focused on the front part of the of staff. So there are programs, there are exhibitors. It's a really good opportunity. And again, you can get all of the information on the ILA website. We also have a program that is held every other year. It's the Youth Services Institute. It was held last year, so it will be held again. I'm saying it was actually this year. I think of last year as already. The next one will be held in 2027, and we will be in Bloomington Normal for that. Hopefully you are aware of iRead, which is a summer reading program, which is used in Illinois and the rest of the country and around the world. It's developed by librarians for librarians, and the 2026 theme is Plant a Seed, Read. We have more continuing education like Directors University, which is held every year for new public library directors. DU is planned in partnership with the State Library, Rails, Illinois Heartland Library System, and ILA. We usually have 50 or so new directors every year. We have the new network, which is free afternoon webinars and on the website throughout the year. And if you are a member of ILA, you can go in to watch any of the webinars that are available. We also do a series of trustee workshops in the spring. Those will be announced probably early in the next year. It's usually 3 months and one program every Saturday. A big thing changed this year. Illinois Libraries Presents is the newest addition to ILA's initiatives. It offers online events for members of all sizes and budgets. And finally, we have a really a great program for awards. It focuses on librarianship and library service in Illinois. The next call for awards will be announced in early 2026. So start thinking of people that you know that have earned an award. So that's a quick run through on ILA.
Okay, so hello again. My name's Aaron Skog. I'm the SWAN Executive Director, and I was interested in one of ILA's many committees. I've been on the nominating committee at one point in the past, and the Public Policy Committee was one of the committees that was open for representation. And I'm in my 3rd year on the committee, and in the 3rd year, I was asked to be the chair of the committee. So just a little background on how I arrived on what is called PPC for just shorthand here. So the committee is probably one of the more, I would say, active, important ones in addition to the other committees, in that we're really focused on the legislative matters for ILA and for Illinois libraries. So there are ways in which we solicit ideas or legislative proposals, as we call them, from kind of a grassroots effort where these are submitted to the committee. And then there's a process by which the committee goes through these proposals and decides if these are ones that we want to advance as a legislative issue for the given year. So as the start of the fiscal year in July, we were open for proposals, and this year we did receive 9 proposals. These are 9 ideas that came from you all. They were pertained to a number of issues out there, and I'm going to walk through the ones that we agreed would be the focus for the legislative season. And this was also done with ILA's lobbyist. If you didn't know, ILA does have a lobbyist that works in Springfield. He reports directly to Cindy and provides updates to the PPC committee, and he will also be present at the legislative meetups that are going to be taking place. So let's move on to the list here. So the 4 initiatives that we arrived at based on proposals and discussion were the following. We have a need to address issues concerning ebooks, ebook access, ebook costs, and we are in that first step of working out how do we talk to our legislators about the issues that we're facing with ebooks. Another proposal that we had that we agreed we wanted to move forward for legislation is trustee training. This is specific to public library trustees. There's a definite need out there for some sort of requirement for public library trustees to have some sort of training, and I'll detail a little bit more of what's under discussion. We also wanted to make sure that based on what is occurring, that we see the grant funding to public libraries, school libraries, into our library systems, that those get an increase in funding. So that is another area that we're focused on. And the 4th one here that we have as far as our legislative initiatives for the year is something that impacts more academic libraries, but specifically will really help higher education and specifically students through a program called Open Educational Resources. So let's move on to the next slide here. So the issue with ebooks is one that I think we needed to confer more on this in, I would say, a little bit more focus. So PPC has formed a working group called the eBook Legislation Working Group. And this group has the person who submitted the proposal involved, but we also wanted to make sure that we had folks from Rails, from Carly involved with this, and from Heartland. So this group has been meeting, and we're really now at the point of making sure that when we go to meet with legislators, that they understand what the ebook issues are, because this is impacting all library types. We're seeing a big movement, particularly now with public libraries, to really building up ebook collections, and their budgets are basically under duress is the best way I can describe it, in terms of trying to meet the demand. And we feel that maybe a legislative effort is warranted. We've seen legislation move forward in Connecticut. We're watching legislation also maybe move forward in New Jersey. And based on the activities we're seeing there, we feel like Illinois has a pretty good runway to maybe bring maybe a legislative solution. But first, we wanted to take this initial step and explain our concerns to the legislators. So one of the things that the working group worked on in conjunction with advocacy, with Cindy's blessing, is that we will be talking about the ebook issues at the legislative meetups. So those are getting started next week. And then there'll be another round of those in December for most of the folks in the Rails area. So if you're planning on attending those, just be ready that you'll be hearing more about this as we're trying to frame our concerns with them. We have yet to really work on the legislation, although that said, there is a group out there called the ebook working group, ebook study working group. Did I get that right, Monica? The group does help with legislation, and we are hoping to confer with them and make sure that the legislation, in combination with the unique aspects of Illinois and its own legislation that's already been passed, we want to make sure that if we are going to bring legislation forward, that it addresses any concerns that are being raised by the state library or the Secretary of State. So nothing's there yet, but we are going to be talking a lot more about this. So get ready to hear more about it at the legislative meetups. Let's move on to the next topic, the open educational resources. This came from the subcommittee from Carly, and it was a very interesting proposal that came to PPC. The issue that it was raised is that students are really making tough choices in their lives in going to university or colleges, and it was so much so that they cited research that showed that purchasing textbooks is such a high cost to them that they were considering, do I purchase textbooks versus other necessities that impact their daily lives? So the OER subcommittee with Carly did have a grant study program going where they were creating open free textbooks. And now they're at the stage where they feel that they would like to see a $3 million grant request through the Secretary of State be made and have this funding for these open educational resources go through an annual process. So we're taking that initial step of getting hopefully in the budget for the Secretary of State. And I believe we are seeing signs that that is going to happen. Let's go to the next slide. So trustee training. This was another proposal that we had come to PPC and under discussion. I would characterize our discussion was that we knew that some libraries did not necessarily see this, public libraries see this as maybe as much of an important topic to them as others, but the libraries that were seeing this as an issue were pretty adamant in that there needs to be something that will require trustees at a public library to have some sort of training requirement. We do recognize that there's training already available through the program called iLead, that ILA has its own opportunities for trustee training. They have the conference where they have the trustee day, and Rails and Illinois Heartland also have training available. So legislation is being drafted. We want to make sure that we get this right. I was at the ILA conference and I did hear from some folks that had some concerns about what the training legislation might look like. So I would encourage you, if you have questions about it or concerns, go ahead and I'll include the link in the chat also about who your public PPC reps are, and you can reach out to them if you'd like to share any ideas that you have, or if you're enthusiastic about requiring this. Let's move on to the next topic, which is the one that we're very excited about, which is increased library grant funding. We're calling this an inflationary adjustment. We targeted maybe somewhere around a 20% increase to the public library per capita grant. This would also include increases to the school library grants, and also importantly, the library system grant funding. We have not seen increases to these grants, and based on the rate of inflation, we feel that these grant programs should receive some sort of increase. We were looking at, like I said, the number of 20%, and thus far it's looking pretty good in terms of we have caught the attention of the Secretary of State and the State Library on this. So hopefully this will continue to move forward. It may not be 20%, but we figured if you don't ask for it, you're not going to get it, so we're asking for it. The next area I'd like to address is we did have a number of issues come up that were proposals submitted, but we didn't feel comfortable moving forward with maybe a legislative solution. And so what PPC is doing is forming study groups or sometimes working groups, but they're really just members of the Public Policy Committee that are going to meet potentially also with outside library directors that are potentially impacted that could help our study groups. So the first one is that we were seeing through the proposal that came into PPC that there was a lot of concern that the Freedom of Information Act was being abused with public libraries and other units of local government. Some of the stories that we heard in the proposal were such that we felt like we need to learn more about this, because libraries just can't amend FOIA just for themselves. FOIA is something that impacts all units of local government. So we want to gather some stories and do some research before maybe broaching the idea of some sort of legislative amendment to the existing act. PPRT, and forgive me that there's a lot of acronyms here, but it's the best way to sort of talk us through this. Personal property replacement tax is a distribution of taxes that go to public libraries, but in certain circumstances, city libraries are more impacted by this, where they may or may not receive the funds. So the question about this was that we need to study this matter some more, because it was noted in the proposal that libraries, city libraries that weren't getting their PPRT funds, they were being held back for some reason or another, maybe by the city, and there were maybe reasons on either side for wanting the funds or reasons for not providing the funds. So we're going to study this issue some more. The Library Records Confidentiality Act also came up more recently, as we felt that we'll just say that with a lot of the maybe immigration enforcement that has been experienced, I will say, in the Chicagoland area, that we felt like it was time to also look at the Library Records Confidentiality Act and see if we can strengthen this. So we are forming a study group also to explore ways to improve the act. because we're in a day and age where we need to make sure that patron data is secure, and we want to make sure that access to this has been strengthened. And we have also another group that has been meeting where they're studying existing statutes such as open meetings. And they also have been working for the past year and are also waiting if there's opportunities for like Open Meetings Act to undergo some changes that we might have some opportunities there. So those are 4 of the working groups or study groups that PPC has. Let's move on. So Cindy, here we go. The legislative meetups that are taking place, I would say, in the Chicago area, those are noted here. We have 2 on November 2nd and 1 on November 3rd. I've included the prices here for that. Registration for these are still open. I believe, Cindy, the ones that are taking place next week, those are in the southern part of the state, right, Cindy? That registration is closed.
Yes, those are closed.
Okay, so if you haven't, make sure to sign up for those, and we look forward to seeing you there. I don't think there's anything more other than we're ready to take, oh, excuse me. Do I have the wrong dates in here?
I think it just says November instead of
It's
December. The date is okay, but the month is wrong.
Gotcha. Sorry about that. We'll get that fixed. I see my advocacy friends in the chat.
Well,
Go ahead, Monica.
No, I was just going to say, I think these events are so wonderful. And for anybody out there who hasn't been to one of these before, I really want to encourage you to think about attending. It's a great opportunity, not just for you to hear more about these legislative issues that Aaron and Cindy have presented for you today, but also to speak directly with the legislators that represent your area or your library's area. What's most important to those legislators is they connect directly with you. They want to be with the people in the areas that they represent and hear what's important to them about libraries and hear about your experience. So if you've had trouble, being able to afford ebooks, for example, or if there's been issues with trustees, like it can be a great opportunity for you to be able to talk to them about these issues and hear it from your words. So I just wanted to encourage everybody out there, if you're thinking about this, it is really a great opportunity to get involved in the issues that are important to libraries. I know there may be some questions from the group for Aaron and Cindy. There is a Q&A at the very bottom of your screen. If you want to enter a question into that spot, it's a great way to have an opportunity to ask your question now. I think in the meantime, I would just ask you both, I know that there were so many proposals this year, and there seems to be so much interest in the public policy area of Illinois. Are there things, Aaron, for you that have been really interesting about serving on the Public Policy Committee over the last 3 years?
It's been great. I mean, as far as getting kind of the insider kind of view on how legislation is created, if this is of interest to anyone, I would encourage anyone to sign up or for when the opportunity arises to maybe participate on PPC. That selection is definitely made within ILA, so they'll make sure that the composition of the committee is balanced. But I will say, one of those things, it's like any committee. In my first year, I was kind of more watching and learning, and then by the second year, I felt like far more confident in what was the discussion was being had. So I was extremely honored when they asked me to be the chair. I don't feel like I'm an expert necessarily in legislation, but I think my role in the consortia is at least I can be very organized and make sure that we get all of our study groups stood up and get them moving and have them feel empowered. So I'm really looking forward to some of the things that we're setting out to do, because I was not aware, for example, of like the PPRT issue. And so that's something that I think as we gather more stories on, we'll see what can be done about that, if anything can be done about that. I'm sure that will probably resonate with a lot of library directors here.
Well, you're getting thanks in the chat from Dan, and I know from so many of us for the work that the Illinois Library Association does on behalf of Illinois Libraries for Public Policy Committee and otherwise. I know the Advocacy Committee is also very involved with putting together the legislative meetups. So thank you both for talking to us today and for all the work that you're doing on our behalf.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you both. So we're going to move on to a new topic, and this is one that you may have heard quite a bit about if you're paying attention to Rails communications, and that is the transition of our eRead Illinois program. I know we have received a lot of questions about this, and we really appreciate all the communications that we have had from all of you over the last month as we navigated the closure of Baker and Taylor and the movement of the eRead program. So joining us today are Anna Beam, who is our Rails e-content specialist, and Layla Heath, our Rails director of library resources and programs. They're here today to talk to you a little bit about the eRead transition and answer any questions that you might have. I just want all of you to know how hard they have worked to make this transition happen over the last month. And so we're very pleased to be able to talk with all of you about it today. So Anna and Layla, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Monica. And thank you everybody for being here today to listen to us. As Monica said, my name is Anna Beam. I am the e-content specialist at Rails, and I'm going to share my screen in a minute, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you just kind of a brief overview of sort of what happened, where we are now, and where we're moving with eRead Illinois. So here's what happened. On Monday, October 6th, we, like a lot of you, we learned that Baker and Taylor was winding down operations, is I think how they phrased it, and effectively going out of business by the end of the year. This, of course, has really far-reaching impacts for the library community, and we are sad for our colleagues at Baker and Taylor who lost their jobs that day. And it also has a really large impact on our eRead Illinois program. For anyone who's not aware, eRead Illinois is a shared e-content collection of over 80,000 items. There are over 800 libraries in Illinois that participate in the program. And this program was hosted on Baker and Taylor's Boundless platform. And so since Baker and Taylor is closing and Boundless is going away, we need to move the eRead Illinois program to a new platform. So after a very robust internal process, we selected the Palace Project app by Lyrasis as the new platform for the eRead Illinois program. Not only does Palace have the same basic functionality as Boundless, meaning that users can browse the collection, check out, download, and read or listen to their ebooks or audiobooks there, but it also had some really exciting value adds. So one example is that Palace is an e-content aggregator. So along with the eRead Illinois collection, libraries can opt to add their other digital collections to Palace and create kind of a one-stop shop for their library users. So this includes e-content collections from Overdrive or Libby, the Inky.org and BiblioBoard collections that are available statewide, cloud library collections, etc. The app is developed and managed by Lyrasis, which is a nonprofit mission-driven organization. We have worked closely with them in the past, and it's been a very positive partnership for both parties. And so we were, I think, excited to share the eRead project with them as well. Another value add, the Palace app is very user-friendly. It's great for those library power users that just want something to read right now. The app surfaces content that is available to check out immediately. And since it aggregates content from multiple sources, users have more opportunities to discover all of the wonderful resources that the library has and makes available to them. And then another thing that we're excited about is the Palace Marketplace. This is the place where we will be purchasing content for the eRead Illinois program moving forward. The marketplace includes access to Audible titles, which we have not been able to find from other e-content vendors, as well as more favorable licensing terms for libraries. So Lyrasis has worked in partnership with the Digital Public Library of America, DPLA, and they've done a lot of work to create some better lending terms for libraries in terms of what kinds of licenses you can purchase, the cost of those licenses, and just creating more options for libraries when it comes to purchasing and offering digital content to their users. So Our priority with this transition is really protecting the program, both that 80,000 item collection, but also our member libraries, and ensuring that library users have access to the collection with sort of minimal disruption. We have had to move very quickly. This is a transition that would normally take months for us to do, and we're doing it in a matter of weeks. And so we really can't thank our libraries enough for the support they've given us, they've shown us, and really the response these past few weeks. So now I'm gonna share my screen very quickly. I want to show you one of the things that we created for our libraries. Okay, can everybody see that? I cannot see anybody, so I can't tell if you're nodding yes or no, but you can see the transition.
Looks good, Anna.
Okay, thank you, Dan. All right, so all of that being said, here's the timeline of the transition from Boundless to Palace. So on October 27th, we announced the selection of the Palace Project app to our eRead Illinois member libraries. We included in that announcement, we included a link to an FAQ page, social media graphics like this one that I've got on the screen here, messaging for libraries to share with their patrons, and sort of what to expect moving forward. On November 3rd, the ability to check out items in the Boundless app was switched off. This was done so that no one's reading experience would be disrupted in the middle of a checkout when they're in the middle of a book, because we do need to transfer that collection, and the collection cannot live in two places at once. It can't live in Boundless and in the Palace app. And so we didn't want to disrupt the reader's experience, and so we set that date of no more checkouts after the 3rd, so that when we go to move the collection, all of those items are back in the repository. So as of November 17th, the Boundless app will effectively be defunct. Users cannot check items out or place holds, and all active checkouts will be returned by this point. So we're kind of in between that November 2nd and November 17th. That's where we are right now. It's sort of the you are here. That's where we are. And then after November 17th, the collection will begin to migrate from the Boundless app to the Palace Project app. At the same time, this is happening right now, libraries are being onboarded to Palace. So our public, academic, and special library members, eRead members, are in the process of onboarding right now. If that is you have likely heard from either Tara Carpenter at Lyrasis or your ILS manager with information on that transition. You will be notified when your Palace Project instance is live, and we look forward to welcoming users back to the eRead Illinois collection on the Palace app the first week of December. So that's that December 2nd. That's sort of where we are heading next. For our school library members, for K through 12 school libraries, we are expected to start the onboarding process in December. We will have a more definitive timeline for that process in the coming weeks. If you've not done so yet, we did send out a survey. We are asking our eRead Illinois School Library members to fill out a 1-question survey to help us and the team from Lyrasis kind of prioritize development moving forward. And I can pop a link to that survey in the chat in just a minute. And we will also be hosting 2 webinars scheduled just for our school library members to address your questions. The first one will be on December 4th, and the second one will be on December 8th. And if you register for those webinars, we will send you a link to the recording. I'm going to stop my share right now. Keep talking. Bear with me just a second. Okay. Okay. We hosted a webinar for our public, special, and academic libraries on Monday. We had nearly 200 attendees, very, very well attended, lots of fantastic questions. And we are going to be hosting another webinar for this cohort tomorrow. And we really recommend, if you can attend, please do. If you're an eRead member library, lots of really fantastic information, including a demo of the platform, will happen during that webinar. And then as far as getting the word out to your patron goes, as I mentioned, we've created some graphics and materials about the transition. Those are currently available on the eRead Illinois website. We will also be sending out marketing collateral about the Palace Project to our member libraries in the coming weeks. And then finally, I wanted to mention that if you are not a part of eRead Illinois, but you are interested in adding the Palace Project to your library's offerings, you can do this. Our priority right now is transitioning the eRead Illinois membership to PALIS, but we will be rolling out PALIS to all libraries in Illinois in 2026. So you can opt to join eRead at a time, and we welcome you if that's something that you're interested in doing. Or you can just use PALIS as an aggregation app for the e-content services you already have. So stay tuned for more information. And that's what I've got. What questions do you have for me?
I would just encourage everybody, if you're thinking about questions, you can either put them in the chat or in the Q&A that's at the bottom of the screen. But as people are thinking of their questions, Anna, I know you said you got a lot of questions at the webinar that was on the 10th. Can you maybe share one of them with us that people were interested in learning more about?
Oh my goodness, Layla, what stands out to you as the best question? That we get so many good ones.
We did. Just really, they were really the range, Monica, from kind of what would we be having? Would we be sending out any kind of support materials? Lots of questions. We did have some schools attending, so lots of questions about that. Some onboarding questions, some questions about Unbound. I don't know if we mentioned that, but we did do a reach out to the 40 or so libraries that we knew had Unbound accounts to get permission to transfer those individual accounts. And I think we've heard back from all but a handful. So we're well on our way there. So we just really so appreciate the support that the libraries have given and really the quick response that's happened. It's unprecedented and is, I think, really setting us up though for some good things with PALIS project.
I will add to that one question that we are getting that I want to make sure I mention here is folks are asking about getting their usage statistics from Boundless and how long will they be able to do that? And the answer to that is I would recommend grabbing any statistics you need ASAP as soon as you can. Again, the checkouts have been switched off, so all of your user data, your checkout data should be what it's going to be moving forward. But the team at Baker and Taylor is very limited right now, their resources and what they can do. And so if you run into an issue grabbing your stats, it might take some time for them to help you. So I recommend if you need those usage stats, grab them as soon as you can.
They will not transfer.
Correct.
Those will not transfer.
Anna and Layla, maybe just one quick question here in the Q&A. Do you have any more info about the dates for the Unbound collections at libraries and when they'll be migrated?
We do not have dates when they'll be migrated. They're going to migrate. The first order of business is getting the Boundless collection over and getting that started. But they do have the lists of each library's collections. And they'll need to reach out. I believe PALIS will be reaching out then to each of the Unbound libraries to complete that transition. So you should be hearing from them, but this next week, kind of the priority is on the big collection moving. So it could be a week or two or three, but and if you've got any, again, concerns about that, reach out to us, but that would be the expectation.
Thank you, Layla. I know there was also a comment in the chat from Carolyn thanking both of you so much for your work and acknowledging how stressful this has been and appreciating your work on behalf of libraries. So thanks for that comment, Carolyn. We're all very thankful for Anna and Layla.
Thank you. And thanks to our Rails team and our libraries too. It's a team effort. And PALIS project, I have to say, they have really been working hard for us over there. So
I know Anna put in the chat a lot of links that you may want to check out. So if you want to read more about some of the upcoming webinars that were mentioned or some of the other pieces, it's really good to take a look at some of those links. So thank you for sharing those with us too, Anna.
the sessions are being recorded, the two that we did this week, and then the two K through 12s will be as well. But we will be adding more training as you know in December, January. So we'll as soon as we get those finalized with PALIS, we'll be promoting those as well. So there'll be other opportunities.
Thanks, Layla. I know we need to move on soon to find more, but before we do, just one more question from Yesenia that just asked, how will this affect the IPLAR reports for eRead? Do you all know yet, or we can look into that?
we can definitely look into that. I would imagine that yeah, I would recommend grabbing again the usage statistics and maybe the collection statistics now while you can. We will grab a snapshot of the collection as well so that we can share that with any libraries but I imagine you'll have to add that to what those statistics are from Palace at the end of your next fiscal year, but we can look into it for sure.
Thank you. Thank you both. Really appreciate your time and explanation. Next, we're just going to go on to an update for Find More Illinois. Really excited for the opportunity for you all to hear a little bit more about Find More Illinois and some of the changes over the last year. So joining us is Barb Miller, Rails Consortial Services Supervisor, and she will also be joined by Layla. So welcome.
Hi, I'm going to quickly share my screen. Hopefully this all works according to plan. I can see some of you. Is this visible to everyone? Okay, you're nodding. This is a good thing. Okay, so Find More Illinois is a statewide interlibrary loan platform that provides access to all participating libraries' holdings in one seamless interface. There are 88 libraries currently participating in Find More Illinois, with about 20 additional libraries that have requested a quote or a participation agreement. Libraries of all types and sizes can join, regardless of your catalog software they use or their participation in a consortium. Find More Illinois has recently launched the Academic Library Lender-Only Pilot. Academic libraries can join with the express purpose of lending their unique collections to all members of Find More Illinois. Find More Illinois libraries expressed an interest in academic materials. We met with Carly and we held 2 focus groups with academic libraries and found that academic libraries are very interested in sharing their resources with other types of libraries across the state. Current academic members are Bradley University, Northern Illinois University, North Central College, Northwest Suburban College, South Suburban College, and the University of Illinois at Chicago. Illinois College, Knox College, and McHenry College are currently in the onboarding process. The Find More Illinois fee structure has recently been updated to ensure equity and sustainability of the program. Public libraries' fees are now based on total operating expenditures as reported on the most recently published IPLAR. School library fees are based on the number of Share-it setups that there's required in the district. Academic libraries' fees are based on full-time equivalency as reported to IPEDS, and special libraries' fees are based on population served. The Find More Illinois catalog is currently at about 8.5 million items, which includes 44,000 large print materials and materials in 150 world languages. For more information, you can go to findmoreillinois.org or put questions in the chat. Layla, what would you like to add?
I think you did a great job summing it up, Barb.
Well, we're really excited about the changes to Find More and the continued growth of the program. I think it's really been cool to see a lot of the academic institutions coming on board and seeing how that potentially just changes what this collection looks like and who might be able to get to material that they otherwise wouldn't have access to. So really thrilled to see those. I don't see any questions in the chat just yet, but we really appreciate you being here with us today, Barb and Layla, to talk about Find More and some of the updates.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Well, I really want to thank all of you for being here with us today. I know we had some exciting news related to some of the things that are happening in library legislative events for Illinois. We heard from our eRead Illinois program about updates that you can see, and then just had the opportunity to hear about our Find More Illinois program. As always, we really appreciate the opportunity to share these things with you, and we appreciate you taking the time to meet with us today. Hope to see all of you again very soon, and if we don't get to see you before then, we wish you a peaceful holiday season. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.